Hello folks, welcome to the video series where we learn Kotlin together, following along with the Codecademy's Learn Kotlin interactive course. So, as you can see, we passed the 50% mark, so we went through more than half of the course. In the last lecture, we learned about lists in Kotlin. Now let's go ahead and learn about sets. So sets are another fundamental Kotlin collection type, and it is different than lists because it's unordered, whereas the lists are ordered collections. The sets are most commonly applicable in programs that work with data sets containing non-duplicate values, such as usernames or passwords, and upon creating or adding elements to a set, the set automatically filters out any duplicates and always return a unique collection. So sets can be thought as a similar collection to lists, but it cannot contain duplicate elements. So it filters out any duplicates when you add to the list, when you add or update any item. Cool. Let's take a look at the image on the right, this one. After setting up camp, Cody is exploring the constellation in the night sky. Since each constellation appears only once and a set is the ideal collection type needed to store this data. Okay, weird example, but okay. Click next when you're ready to start learning more about sets. Yes, we're ready. Let's go. Similar to the lists, a set also can be mutable or immutable, and we will start by the immutable set. To create an immutable set, we use the setOf function. Okay? Remember, we were using listof to create immutable lists. It is the same. We use setOf to create an immutable set or mutable setOf to create a mutable set. And now we will start by creating a set like this, and the syntax is really similar. You use this same function, you use the setOf function and give elements inside. But as you can see in this example, we have some duplicates. For example, here there's red and here there's another red. So we expect the set to filter out the duplicate red. So if we log this set by printing out everything it has, it'll show us red, orange, yellow, green, and blue, but does not show the other red because this is filtered out when you edit. So this is not added at all to the set of colors. Cool. Let's do an example. In technologies KT, declare a variable obsolete tech. Okay. Obsolete. If I could type it. Tag. Come on. Today I cannot type very well. And create a setOf, and then it should contains, and then add those items. Rolodex. I don't know what a Rolodex is, by the way. Phonograph. Okay. Video cassette recorder. Video projector. And Rolodex. Okay. Like this. So let's run this. It won't show anything because we haven't printed out anything yet. But now it wants us to output the value using print statement. Notice how there's one less item in the final set. Okay, obsolete tag. And now printing this will show us again some curly brackets, some square brackets as it does it for the lists. So lists and sets are represented by square brackets when you print them, when you convert them into strings. Cool. So Rolodex, phonograph, video cassette recorder, video projector, and the last Rolodex is deleted or hasn't been added to the list at all. Cool. Let's go ahead and see what is next. Accessing elements in a set. So we were using the square brackets to give the index and access the elements in a list. But for sets, we use element at function. Okay? It says the function is useful for collections that do not possess index access. Assume you're writing a program that keeps track of animals that are no longer on the endangered list. Okay, these. To retrieve the animal gray wolf, we would use the following syntax: non-endangered dot element at 2. So 0, 1, and 2. And 2 gives us the gray wolf. Since Kotlin is a null-safe language, it encourages developers to avoid null pointer exception errors wherever they can by using safer variation of functions, safer variations of function. In the case that an element does not exist at a specified position, our code would throw an error. Dot element at 5 will give you an exception, index out of bounds exception. To avoid this, we can use the element at or null function, a safer variation of element at, to return null as opposed to an error when an element does not exist in the set. This null thing is a whole topic we need to cover. For now, you can just omit this part. Okay, you can. This part is, I don't know, like, this is not good time to add this into the curriculum, in my opinion, because we haven't talked about nullability. So yeah, I wish Codecademy doesn't include this part at all, not to confuse you. Okay, so instead of using square brackets, for example, if we had a list, okay, list, some list, let me give it a name, some list, and if we have a list of A, B, and C, we were using some list, square brackets, A, no, not A, 0, to reach out to access the element A, or 1 to B, or 2 to C. We were using this syntax. But for sets, some set equals not list of, set of this time, set of A, B, and C. Now we need to use some set element at 2. Okay, this is the index access operator, the square brackets, but for sets we use element at, and since element at is a function, we use a regular pair of parentheses, not a square one. Cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the instructions of this exercise. In islands KT, declare a variable islands of y. Okay, let's do that. And assign it an immutable set containing the following items: Maui, Lanai, Oahu, Kauai. I don't know if I pronounced them well. And put spaces after commas. Cool. The next step is, on the following line, retrieve the island of Oahu from the set using the element at function and its position. Wrap this code in a print statement to see the output. Okay, println islands of Hawaii dot element at. To reach the Oahu, I need to get 0, 1, and 2. Second element at the list, at the set, sorry. Okay, let's run this and see if Oahu will get printed. Yes. And next, we need to use element at or null function to retrieve an element from the 6th position, and we need to wrap this code in a print statement to see the output. You should not see an error in the terminal. Okay. Println islands of Hawaii element at or null, and then we give the 6th position. Since there is no 6th position in this set, it'll return null instead of returning an error. Cool. Let's go to the next exercise. Creating a mutable set. Again, we use mutable set of function to create a mutable set of something. For example, here, NYC radio stations mutable set of doubles. The compiler will infer mutable set of double from the code. Here, there is something different, by the way. Like, it's not different, but in Codecademy's curriculum, they wanted to mention this now. Usually, we were not using the type syntax of these functions. Okay, for example, we had, let's say we create a mutable list. Okay, again, some list. We were using mutable list of, and then giving some values inside, like A, B, and C. Okay, but let's say we don't want to initialize, we don't want to put initial values inside of this list. If we do this and create this list, it will give us a syntax error, and that is because Kotlin cannot infer the type of this list, because it's a list, but list of what? List of integers, or list of doubles, or list of strings, or list of something else. To make it clear for the compiler, we could use something inside, like we can add some initial value so that Kotlin compiler can understand, okay, it includes one string, so this list should be a list of strings. Or if you don't want, you can use this syntax. You create a less than and greater than symbol pair, and then between those, I think these also called angle brackets. Yes, I guess. So you can use a pair of angle brackets and give it a type here. So this means create a mutable list of strings, or create a mutable list of, for example, integers or doubles. Okay, you can do this. You can do this for lists, and you can do this for sets. Both are valid. Okay, and for other collections, you can do the same. So here it talks about this. This syntax is new to you, but it was all available for lists, and it's available for maps and arrays as well. Cool. So here, if you do this mutable set of some double values, the compiler will infer this to be a mutable set of doubles from the code above, and will only accept values of type double within this set going forward. It asks us to create a mutable set and name it Apollo landing sites. And it should be a mutable set populated with the following string values. Mutable list, mutable set of all these values. Let me copy those and then use some commas and fix the format. Yes. Let's run this and see if we can pass the first checkpoint. Okay, so it says output the values of the set using print statement. Think about what type of Kotlin program can be written with this data. What type of Kotlin program can be written with this data? I don't know. Like it, it didn't give us any hint, by the way. Apollo landing sites. So now printing this will show us again with square brackets all of the elements inside. Cool. And as we could do that for lists, we can also add and remove elements to and from a set. Okay? And let's go ahead and read. To add or remove any elements from a set, we must utilize Kotlin's built-in set functions. Luckily, many of these functions can also be applied to other collection types. Thus, you might recognize some of these syntaxes from a previous lesson. To add a single element to a set, we'd use the add function as we did in the lists lesson. However, if we were interested in adding many elements to a set at once, the add all function would be more appropriate. Note that in contrast to lists, we cannot add an element that already exists in the set. Let's take a look at how add all works. Let's say we have a list of strings, and if we want to add them all into a set, we can use this add all function. So when adding them all, since we're adding them into a set, the set will clear out all of the duplicates, like 1a is duplicate here, or 2c has a duplicate, so it'll remove all of those duplicates. And lastly, we have a method to clear, to remove all of the elements, and that is called clear. And we can use this to clear all the set. Okay? Cool. So add all and clear are highly useful, quick, and efficient ways of adding or removing large amounts of data from a collection at once. It says from a collection. That means these add all and clear functions are not just functions defined on set, but it can work on different collection types like list. Okay? Cool. Cody and his friends want to host a talent show, but before they proceed, they need to ensure that there are at least 5 participants. They gathered the following list of names in Talent Show KT. It's our job to ensure that no name appears twice and that there are enough participants for the show to take place. First, use the add all function to add all of the list names to the unique participant set at once. This is the set, and we want to add some elements. So we use add all, and then we give participants inside. Since this participants is a list, they all can be added at once using add all to the unique participants set. This is a mutable set, so we can modify the contents later on. Let's run this. And hence we pass this first step. Now we need to use the size property to determine how many participants are in the set. Create the following string template and wrap it in a println statement. Okay, let's copy this and paste it into a println statement. And we need to change this into $sign and a pair of braces. Okay. Cool. Let's run this now to see if it's correctly printed. There is a problem. Yes, we forgot to change the set name. Set name is unique participants. The talent show has 5 unique participants because the gopher had the duplicate before, but now the last one got cleared after we add them all to unique participant set, and the rest of the items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the rest of the items has number 5, and the rest of the items, so we have 5 remaining items. Cool. Great work. Since there were more than 5 unique participants, the talent show was able to take place, and Cody won for knowing all 88 constellations by heart. Now it's time to clear all of the participants from the set. On the following line, use the correct function to empty the set. Use a println statement to output unique participants and ensure all values have been cleared. So to clear all of those, we type the name of the set, the variable, and we're gonna use clear and then print afterwards to see if it got cleared or not. And now, since we have cleared them all, we see an empty pair of square brackets. That means an empty collection. And let's learn about additional set functions. For example, first, last, or sum. So they all are self-explanatory. If you want to get the first one, you use the first. If you want to get the last one, you get the last. By the way, first means zeroth, okay? Zeroth index, element at 0. This is not element at 1. First element, yeah, it can be confusing for you, but this is the initial element, the element that comes the first in the list. And the last one is index size -1. We already saw that. And lastly, sum on an integer collection or a number collection can add them all together so that it gives a sum to us. In midterm KT, write a program that determines if a class has failed or passed the midterm. First, let's gather the grades and store them in a mutable set, test grades. So I'm going to copy them all. And I'm going to declare a variable called test grades, which is a mutable set. So I'm going to use mutable set of. I don't need to add int here because I will give them some initial values like this, 65, 50, 72, and 80, and 53, and 84. Cool. These are integers, and hence this is a set of integers or a mutable set of integers. I think we passed the first checkpoint already. Next, we will utilize the following formula to declare 3 variables that we will use to calculate the average. Average is equal to sum over number of elements. First, declare the variable sum. Okay, let's declare the variable sum. And within it, store the result of calling sum function on test grades. So test grades.sum means go ahead and add them all together and give us the sum of these grades. Okay. Declare the variable num students. This means number of students. And within it, store the result of using size property on test grades. Size property, as you might remember, gives us the count of the elements, number of elements inside. Test grades dot size. Sorry, size is a property, not a function. If it's a function, you use a pair of parentheses to call that function. But if it's a property, you just go ahead and type the name and omit skip the pair of parentheses. If you put, you'll get an error because it'll look for a function to execute. And finally declare the variable average and assign it the division expression of sum divided by num students. Sum over num students. Since this is an integer, and since this is also another integer over integer will give us another integer, so you won't get any decimal numbers. But I think it'll be enough for us. So the next step, or the last step, is set up a conditional. You forgot the conditionals already? It was 2 videos before. For example, an if statement. That follows this logic. If the average grade is less than 65, average grade is less than 65, then output the text failed. Else, or otherwise, output the text passed. Let's run this and see if the class has failed or passed. It's passed. Cool. Great job. In this lesson, we've learned the following concepts. A set is an unordered collection. We declare it by using set of function. It says keyword, but it's not a keyword. It's a function. No, declared somewhere. I believe it is. Let's take a look. Set of Kotlin. Yeah, it's a function, as you see in Kotlin collections. Yeah, you can call it a keyword, but I think it's just, I don't know, not accurate. Okay, it's declared with a set of function and indicates a set whose values cannot change throughout a program. If you want to change the values or the contents of it, you can use a mutable set of something. Within the set, elements within a set can be accessed using the elemented or null functions. We also learned add all and add, or first or last, or clear, which are functions defined on set or other collections, some other collections, which have various functionalities. Okay, we've now covered the second major collection that exists in Kotlin, as well as many other programming languages. Feel free to utilize this empty review file and output terminal on the right to hone your understanding of sets and practice writing Kotlin code. Okay, let's go ahead and use a list now. Var, let's say, old subscribers. Let's make it a list. Okay, list of how was it? Safa, John, Mary, and Burak. And we also added you. So there's also here your name. And let's say we have a set, and this set is people who liked this video. It should be a mutable set of string. Okay, why? Because I want to add those names. So I want you all subscribers, or my just subscribers, let's change this to subscribers. I want them all to like this video. So people who liked this video, add all and put the subscribers here. Let's say we also add Safa again because Safa liked it twice. But since people who liked this video is a set, Safa should not be counted twice. So let's print the whole set first, and then print another thing. The first person who liked, and then use this syntax to create a string template. And let me, by the way, use this so that we can work in comfort. Okay, people who like this video dot first. And then the last person who liked this video is last. And also another println statement. And we need to use people who like this video dot size. People liked this, or unique people, let's say unique people like this video. Let's print them all. Okay, when we first printed the list, you can see all of the subscribers are added: Safa, John, Mary, Brock, and your name. And the first person who liked is Safa, and the last person who liked is your name. We added Safa to the set again, but since it's a set, it doesn't get updated with a duplicate. So Safa stayed here, and another Safa wasn't added into the set. So the last person who liked is still your name. And if when we use size, it says 5 unique people like this video. And lastly, if we go ahead and clear the set and then print it again, now we will see an empty set, which is represented by an empty pair of square brackets. That was all for this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next episode.